So you'll remember underway that one of the things that went, well, our power was a big thing. You know, first the one remaining alternator that we had, that blew, so all we had left was solar power. And then of course our total solar power went.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so tell me from like a kid's perspective, what it's been like without the power in this place.
Awful.
Awful.
It's been absolutely awful. I hate it.
You didn't have to shower. You have to
How good is that? You don't even have to shower.
You bath in the sea.
That's
Your hair
the
always
disgusting
feels like
part.
stiff.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
stiff
the
string.
bad part. It's awful.
We can't bake muffins. We can't cook anything in the oven.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can't.
make
We can't. So we
muffins
can't
so
use
bad.
water because we're trying to save power.
Yeah.
We can't have Starlink because we haven't got these
We
alternators.
walk around
I
in the
can't
night.
even watch a movie without getting cut off halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm managing the power.
Exactly.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yes,
We walk around at night with night lights because we can't.
And phone flash.
But it hasn't been that bad, George. We're crossing without lights and without bathing and
No,
without
that
internet
bathing is
and
the bad part.
what else? So without being able to wash clothes,
No, no.
Oh,
washing.
yeah.
walking around with little torches in the night.
The Wi-Fi, sure, fine. The plugs, sure, fine. The light, sure, fine. But the fact that we didn't get to shower, and then we also didn't get to swim because the water was cold at first. So at first we were literally stinking.
Yeah, but I mean, you
So
got
badly,
to
and
shower every second day.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No,
After
no.
Luteritz, we did not.
The Luteris, how often are we getting
We
to
didn't have any
Water
sun.
or power.
Remember when we left
yeah,
Luteritz
yeah.
all the way to Saint Helena, we didn't have any sun.
So
we
we
had like
didn't-
10
Yeah,
consecutive
but
days.
Saint
of-
Helena, by Saint Helena to
That was a couple days, wasn't it? One
no,
week.
Saint Helena
Yeah.
to
Fernando.
Fernando was
We
about
had-
was that 7 days or 10 days or whatever. That was fine, wasn't it?
He
Yeah,
said.
well, some of the guys in Cape
But-
Town used to say to me, "Everything is fine. All you got to do is manage your power." How do you
But-
think about managing our power now?
It's all we
Well,
ever do. That's how
Yeah.
we live.
Well-
we live by that little device over there.
The
It's
server,
we
yeah.
completely,
Which,
yeah.
by the way, we're at
It
94 and we're still not allowed to use it.
Yeah, that's because I've been told we've got to balance the batteries and the
It
batteries.
wasn't that hot then, so it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, but when Carol and I were in the engine rooms, it got hot quickly. Carol and I used to go in the engine rooms and get out all the water. And to the point where when we left Fernando, every time we went into the engine rooms, we had to
Now,
put
leaving
a
Fernando
fan.
was as hot as anything. That was already crazy.
Yeah, Fernando was starting to get hot.
Yeah.
So,
And-
so this is the USB hub. Now it's this device that enables us to see all 9 solar panels independently on the servo screen. So right here, I simply, as I've shown before, touch this button over there. And you can see I've named the solar panels. All 9 will show when they've replaced this. This is what he's done at the moment. There's the old one still sitting up here. There's the new one. I saw he was very careful about making sure he brought across the correct cables to the correct place. Yes, I've got to say these oaks are quite different from Grenada, right? Yeah, yes, there's been a storm. I mean, they come on here, Oliver, who is the project manager, his diesel fixer remover guy arrives. Well, the diesel remover guy arrives. The diesel tank fixer guy arrives. The fiberglass rock guy arrives. The rigger arrives. The electricians arrive. It's just like bang, 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 bang. It's like, wow, kind of like you're in Europe here. Yeah.
So the tension inlet from the alternator comes here. But if we mount it this way, well, it just comes in the way. It can't.
Yeah,
So
it gets in the
either
way,
It
so you-
should have been put like that
Further out.
for it to be, well, which is not the ideal way. But on the video you showed us, this piece is welded on
That
this
piece
side,
is on that side on that
which is
video.
exactly how it should be, because that way you bolt the alternator in and then you can tension it by.
So basically what you've got to do is take this off and have it remade on that side.
Correct.
And what about the other hole that you said doesn't line up?
The other hole, we have the main support for the alternator, which it pivots. These holes don't line up. We would need to go, I'd say, about 1 mil deeper with the
Alright.
alternator for it to go.
More than a mil. Shit.
Yeah,
So we need to dig a
we
bit
just need
here.
Oh my gosh.
absolutely.
Okay.
Bye, let's go.
Okay. Alright guys, sorry for
Yes,
that.
should be ready by
Okay.
this afternoon.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Christoph. Well done. Wow. This is Thursday morning, the 14th of March. I'm going to check the alternators, which unfortunately haven't happened as easily as one would hope. And I'll take the revs to, let's say, 1500 for now. Let's go check. On 1500, the alternator button has come in. You can see the time over there is 9:19, and to save video, oh there we go, right up to 4.8 at 1500 revs. Man, it would be good if it stayed this way.
So this is 1006.
There we go, 1002, and well done, I can see they're running separately.
Yeah, they're separately. That's the one thing.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about. Solar coming in there, 2.6, 2.7. Alternators bringing in 7.3 kilowatts. Total 10 kilowatts coming in. We're purposely trying to use a lot. So we're using 5 kilowatts on the DC system, which is the water maker and all the air conditioners. And we're using 3.5 kilowatts on the AC system, which is all of our computers and which is the stove and the ovens. And there you can see that, you know, those things are fluctuating to the point where suddenly we go down to no kilowatts coming in because into the battery, which is 95%, all the way up to 3, depending on what solar does. So we've got a bit of a cloudy day. You see the solar charger, PV charger at the moment. There we go, 3.05, 3.12. You know, bringing sometimes right up to the 3.6 kilowatts, and then it gives us a little bit more on the engines. But the alternators bringing in 7.3 kilowatts. I mean, we're averaging 10 kilowatts pumping in on this boat. We're running almost everything we can. Because we've got two 5 kilowatt 220 volt inverters, it handles all of it that we can throw at it. I mean, theoretically we might be able to throw more than 10 kilowatts at the of AC load at the inverters. Right now it's only 3.8. Quite frankly, it's really lovely to see that this is possible. We're using to run both alternators, which are rated as 5 kilowatt alternators at 48 volt. At lower temperatures, you can see here, at lower temperatures, lower than this the 80s when we start at 30, the alternators put out 5 kilowatts. But when it gets up to this sort of temperature, in other words, this has been running, as I say, for over 2.5 hours, then that's what you get. You only get 3.5 kilowatts out of each alternator. We've just found that the extractor fan, the factory extractor fan in the quarter engine room is not running. So we actually have that hatch, that engine room hatch open, but the starboard engine room hatch is not. That extractor fan's working. So the extractor fans are far more, not far more, but more effective than actually having the engine room hatch open. But yeah, I'm totally impressed that we've been trying to, you know, coming up from 67%, nearly at 100%. We've been running everything we can, and it's taken 2.5 hours. Really fantastic. So we've just left Martinique for Guadeloupe, and we've got the engine, just turned the engine on. You can see temperature's only 65, turned the engine on about 10 minutes ago, and we haven't been getting that normal 4 down to 3.5. We're simply getting that 2.7, so that's quite different from the test we did the other day. You can see temperature's not a problem, so I'm not sure what's changed, but yeah, of course that feels a little bit less stable, you know. I mean, I'd hope that even underway we'd get the same result as we got when we were running the engine at this sort of speed. So because of the low power on the starboard side alternator, I've now started up port side to see where we go with that. So normal sort of revs, 14.5, temperature 44. Normally at this point we go right to 5 kilowatts, but something's definitely changed here. Now it's another minute later and it's just doing some erratic stuff. I'll keep watching, and I'll watch the temperature especially. So remember, we've only got 80% battery, which was similar to the other day. We started at 70 and went all the way up to 99. It seems like the alternators are sort of coming alive briefly. We're getting 1.2 kilowatts, both of them in the 50 degrees, both revs about right. Okay, what I find strange is that the temperature is not going up. Both engine compartments are closed and the temperature really should be up at, should be going up to 70 and 80, so that's not normal. Now seeing another thing, you can see the alternator, you've got that up, it's up at 2.8, but you can see the solar PV charger is 43 watts. The solar is not charging together with the alternator. So yeah, I've just turned off the engine and the solar comes right back, as you can see, 1.8 kilowatts. You can see the day, same day, time hasn't changed. Yeah, so definitely the alternator's killing the solar, which it wasn't doing the other day. So just that we can show you we're doing the right thing, we've got the cable plugged into the Wakespeed. We're in the port engine room. Lights flashing orange, 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 red, red, red. We got these two files. One says Utopia port. I'm going to select that. It opens the Wakespeed app. Go to so none of these settings are the way they should be, so I'm going to have to reset them again on the app. So when I opened it, the model said the whole LFP smart blah blah and didn't have the A, so I've selected the A. So just to check the screen from top to bottom, I've selected the port one. That's what it's got in it. That's what it's got in it there. And then here at the bottom, save configuration. I'll say save. Is it doing anything on there? Yeah, say save configuration. Nothing's happening yet. It's just the light's still flashing. We'll just pause this and wait for a whole long while to make sure we've given it enough time. The light's red at the moment. It's now flashing like an orangey red. And definitely, while I'm here and we're waiting, I don't know if we're waiting for what we're waiting for, but nothing much is happening. I hope we get some answers on these bloody alternators. I mean, it's just really crazy. I think it's nearly a year now since we started to install mine. I think it was May last year. What are we, April? Yeah, so there we go. Next month it's a year since they, in fact I think we ordered them back in March, Marcel, maybe April, I can't remember, but we can go back and check. But yeah, look, the other way to do it is, as I say, you can send me to the hoo-ha experts in the US. I'll go there. That way we can let them do it, let them perfect it, and you guys duplicate it. I mean, unfortunately Oliver and them just didn't really pan out, or maybe you guys get it right there and have me duplicate what you've done on this side. Guys, so Harvey here in St. Martin has just converted, moved the 48 volt over to a temporary 12 volt feed to put the engines up right up here. There we go. That's 1800, so for me that's very high. I get, as you know, about 3.5 with 1600 revs. And I just want to let you know, so we put in the configuration file, so there it is. And at the moment, as you can see, all I'm getting is that it goes up to about 3. So very, very slowly, engine revving very high. We're not used to it being this high. We've only done the port engine, we haven't done the starboard engine, but we're not getting to 3 on this port alternator. And we're even running much, much higher revs. We run it up at 2. Yeah, there we go. So I'm not sure where to go from here. Yeah, so running with the 48, so with the Wakespeed connected to the 48 volt system, we were getting a maximum of 3.5 kilowatts per alternator, mostly about 3.2 kilowatts per alternator. And we were running that at 1650 revs, so the engine revs needed to be about, say, 1600. Now Wakespeed on 12 volts, using the config files from Cape Town, when we run our engines on this 1600 RPM, we still get 3.5. But The difference is when we run our engines on 1850, we get 4.2, nearly 4.5, which before, if we ran it on 1850, we wouldn't. Our max was 3.5, whether we were running at 1650 or 1850. Now our max is 4.5, a little bit short of 4.5, but I'm just rounding. 4.5 when we run on 1850. So actually all we've got to do is we've got to change the pulley size, and that'll mean we can get our 4.5 or 4.2 when the engine is running at 1400, because the Wakespeed will still be running at the 3400 that it needs at the moment, 1850 engine revs to get to. You can see the time here, and we're still buggering around with these Wakespeeds. Poor old Harvey's been at it almost the whole day. Engine's going, trying to get those settings working. Okay, you can see we're down to 7.5 and we're about to test white space. We're on 2200 revs and starboard's white space hasn't kicked in. In fact, it's gone up to 4.5 kilowatts. Engine going up to 2400. See if we kick in. Still hasn't kicked in, we're nearly on 5 kilowatts. 2600 white space definitely hasn't kicked in, we're in 5 kilowatts. 2800 really at the top, and white space definitely hasn't kicked in, we're at 5 kilowatts. Okay, starboard dropped down to normal, port up to 2200 and the kilowatts have gone up. Taking port up to 2500, kilowatts up, no white space. Taking port up to 2800, kilowatts still up there and over the 5s, so no white space set on these alternators. Both back down to 1800 engine revs, temperature up to about 80 each, and each at about 3.6 kilowatts, so white space is not working. You can see that I've got absolutely no cloud. There's no cloud in the sky. It's just after midday, and we've got very, very little coming in from solar. It's pretty much just taking what we need. So there you can see it's just taking in 778 watts, giving us a net of like 50 and 11 watts and what have you. So for some reason there's 0 watts. Normally the system brings in everything right until we're at 100%. So it's not getting to 100%, not sure why. There seems to be delays on everything now, which I don't mind. So that's how it reads. It's starboard is still fine at 4.4 and port is minus 2 point whatever that is. But let's give it some time, because it seems that everything now works after time. And the time doesn't seem to be more than 2 minutes, so it doesn't seem to be bad, so long as it works. No, it's gone back to the servo problem. So, yeah, a lot of irregularities now. Okay, splash back, let's see what happens. No, it just keeps splashing away. So there's definitely something changed, both with the servo instability and also with the engine management software thing. But that's not an issue, because it comes on after a minute or so and that's fine. So the problem with these videos is that sometimes they're taken quite a bit before they actually go online, which means things change. This entire video, except for me talking now, was done in April. The part before this and the part after this. Now we're sitting right at the end of June and we're about to publish this. The situation has changed. As you know, Leopard blew them up and did a terrible job with the alternators in Cape Town, but Marcel remained honourable and he asked us to keep chasing contractors that could fix the job. Eventually he turned around to us and said, all right, look, go to Leopard in Fort Lauderdale and Leopard there would attend to the job. Now suddenly, recently, that's been pulled. And Marcel's told us, no, Leopard don't want to fix it. They want me to keep trying to employ contractors in the hope that it'll work and then just keep refunding me. Now this really isn't very good. I mean, they'll turn around to you and say, well, what they wanted to do was they were going to send me to Just Cats. Now what they're saying is I can go to Just Cats, but that's a problem. The problem is Just Cats don't give a crap. to come on this boat just to fix two $500 Wakespeeds when some guy called Kevin Ferreira calls them. Leopard have the power. Leopard, and specifically the VP, a guy called Frank, he needs to pick up the phone and phone Laron at Just Cats and say, get over there and fix this boat. Coming from Frank, the VP of Leopard, will make things change. In other words, the boat will then be fixed, the alternators will be fixed. But if this guy Kevin, who's been making these apparently awful videos about, you know, all of these things that have gone wrong, picks up the phone and phones Laron, firstly it won't be answered, and secondly they'll just never get there. And I can carry on appointing different people to come on and try to fix it, and carry on billing Leopard, who've said they'll refund. There hasn't been any refund as yet. I gave the bank details over in February, but they have said they'll refund, so one assumes that they will. So that's the issue with the alternators. The issue after this as well, where I have to be fair, is again these videos, wherever anybody's made a mistake, in this case Action Yachting and Multimarine, I mention that. But I also have to give credit where credit is due. You get three kinds of suppliers. One, the kind of supplier that does everything perfectly and you don't need to go back to it's all just great. Two, the kind who does something wrong, makes a mistake, something needs to be fixed, and they honor it. Three, the kind that does something wrong, makes a mistake, and they run. I have to admit, once Marcel is paid, or Leopard is paid, and they've told me that they're going to, and they've told me that Multimarine and Action Yachting are honoring their mistakes by refunding so that we can have it fixed elsewhere. So absolute credit where it's due. If these guys come through, which looks like it is, I'm the first one that has to admit it, regardless of everything that's gone before. Because at the end of the day, that's the point. The point is that all's well that ends well. This is the sender, the fuel and the holding tank sender, and even a water sender that's ultrasonic, so you don't actually have the sliding pole sender that goes down, and in the holding tanks that actually gets stuck and ends up not working. In our case, we're replacing the 3 in the holding tanks, which always got stuck, and the 2 in the fuel tanks, which were showing a reverse reading.
So this, obviously the screws are longer now for the different sensor.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get these bolts to thread into here because the threads were gone really.
Yeah.
Only 1 or 2 was
Yeah.
usable. And there was lots of corrosion around the plate. So you could see there was like salt water leaking.
Yeah.
And the reason why it was leaking and it was the thread was damaged is because this hole here is not big enough to accommodate the screws. So you see one screw was hitting here, one was hitting here, one was here. So when they tightened it to make it seal, they tightened so much that they stripped the aluminium into the little plate. So obviously now the problem is obvious with the longer screws,
Yeah.
which is how I got to find out. But yeah, that's why I've got nuts on the back now, and I'm gonna make it so the bolts can actually go further down. It's the starboard aft waste tank. So this is the place, the only place it's been sealing. You can see it's clean here and it's been sealing properly. The rest was obviously leaking. Now someone's already gone in there. This is the original screws that come with the sensor. But someone's gone in there and drilled the sensor to put bigger, because obviously the threads must have been damaged.
Yeah.
So they secured it with the bigger screws to make it good. Well, unfortunately, with these new sensors, I can't use the bigger screws because I don't want to drill through this plastic, so it needs to be the same size as original. So yeah, I'm going to clean it up and put washers and nuts on the back. Just going to be difficult to remove next time because you have to remove the whole plate off the tank rather than just the sensor if it needs to come off.
Sure. It looks quite mangy, hey? Good.
So the regular analog senders were taken out of the fuel tanks and out of the holding tanks, and you can see the new senders, which is some kind of infrared sender, but regardless, they're a wireless sender. They don't have anything down below in the tank. They literally get programmed. The dimensions of the tank get programmed into them. Then it's quite a bit of calibration that goes on to get each tank reading properly, depending on how far the sender is from the side. So in other words, even if the tank was exactly the same, the sender in this position would have a different program if the sender was in the center of the tank. So it depends not only on the depth but the shape of the tank, and also the location of the sender in the tank. So the blue arrow in this picture is pointing at the diesel return pipe, which is a pipe full of diesel between the engine and the diesel tank. Now, Action Yachting left this pipe lying on the alternator belt. The alternator belt cut through this pipe, and of course the diesel just sprayed onto it fell onto the alternator belt and just got sprayed all over the engine room, but including all over the engine and deep inside to the engine. So this engine now, as a result, in order to get all that diesel off, needs a steam clean. You can't get in there with your hand, it's just impossible. We've been in this engine room and cleaned this engine room as many times as we should, and in fact quite frequently, especially the crew on the initial crossing and Melinda later. But there's no ways we're going to be able to get all that diesel out. Leopard put it there, they cut our diesel pipe, they did the stupid thing, they need to clean it. And then of course you can also see in this video, you can see the rust on the engine caused by the seawater ingress. Now you know that on the travel sketch video, the manager from Leopard, not from Leopard, from the factory, came in to see Trent, and Trent was horrified with all the rust in on his engine, and the manager said all that he was going to do is clean it. Trent felt that he should have had replacement Trent felt that he should have had replacement engines. I'm not asking for replacement engines. I'm asking for the rust to be cleaned off my engine. You know, the rust that was caused by Leopard and all of their water ingress that happened the moment we left Cape Town, seawater ingress that has caused the rust. Secondly, you can see the pipes here in the video where the various lots of water have come in and rusted the pipes and caused rust stains on the gel coat. I want those cleaned off as well. And a normal clean that we've tried to do doesn't clean it. That needs some specialist work, and it might even need some gel coat work, but it certainly needs specialist attention to get that damage. It's not just a clean, it's damage, to get it off the engine rooms.